The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to The Break. We're here. Derek isn't, but we're here.
Taking a break.
I shouldn't talk crap about him
from Garrett
after what I did, but yeah.
Talk all the crap you want. He's the boss.
Took a little vacation there.
True.
It's all right.
It was somewhat of a vacation, not really, but it's okay. Anyways, we're here to talk some Cowboys. We're going to talk about some of the guys that wearing at practice today. We'll get into the Tennessee defense and how that matches up with the Cowboys offense. But before we get into that, obviously the news of the changes in the offensive line coach happened. Everyone knows about it. But yesterday we did get to hear a few of the starters discuss what this means for the team and for them seeing this change. So I know you guys, who was the one who wrote the story?
Me.
You did.
With an assist from my esteemed colleagues who helped
so
me with the quotes.
you heard things from Jor-El Collins, Tyron Smith, and Zach Martin. Different opinions. It sounds like everyone had somewhat of a different take to it.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
It was different.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got Jor-El Collins saying, yeah, it's everybody. Everybody across the board. You feel responsible? Yeah, of course. You know, we all played a part in this. And Zach Martin, I wasn't in that, but I think he said similar.
The great politician, Zach Martin. Yes.
Tyron Smith, do you feel responsible for this? No, not at all. Not at all. That's just the way it happens. It's no one's fault. It's just the way it goes. A little surprised by that, actually. But, this was not a good marriage there at all between this Paul Alexander and all his experience and coaching this Cowboys offensive line and all their experience and accolades. It just wasn't a good fit. And they saw that and they said, we got to change. You can't change the line, but you can change him.
Yeah, and that, I mean, speaking of line, kind of reading between lines when you talk to those guys, like Jor-El Collins was like, I don't think it's going to be too different, but we're going to get back to what we used to do. Like,
right.
Okay.
Right.
That's exactly what
Tyron Smith is like, they're like, well, what do you think needs to be better? And he's like, I just need to work on my technique.
And that's it.
Yeah. Well, the technique was the difference between the last coach and the new coach. So
did he mean maybe going back to what he was doing last year?
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly what he meant.
Okay. Now it doesn't matter who the coach is. I'm just gonna keep doing my thing.
Well, I don't think these guys took to Paul Alexander, and they're not gonna come out and say that.
Right.
And they shouldn't come out and say that. But it just, Nick's right. It just didn't seem like it was a great relationship from the get. I will say, excuse me. I thought what was really interesting is all of these guys call Mark Colombo. Like that. Like it sounded like they were talking about their bro. You know, like Jor-El Collins called Paul Alexander Coach Paul. And then he's like, yeah, but, Colombo, like, he's been in the huddle before. He gets it. And I was just like, you guys sound like you're talking about your bro. Because, like, that's my bros call me Hellman. Like, that's a dude thing. And so I think there is a chemistry there. I think they really like him and want to play for him.
That can be good and bad,
It can be, for sure.
Because now, he's the coach. He's not just kind of like, I'm the GA assistant,
Right.
I'll talk to Paul, guys. No, now you're the guy,
right?
And so there could be some good there. There could be some bad. We'll see how Mark handles that. I mean, a lot more responsibility. We were kind of talking to some people yesterday about that, and they basically said he needs to kind of calm down a little bit. He's that fiery get back coach type of guy, even though he's up in the booth, which he's not anymore. He'll be down on the field, and he needs to kind of to be able to handle some issues. So this is going to be a good opportunity for him. And this is what coaches, this is why they grind. They spend all those hours so they can be a position coach. This is a great opportunity for him.
That's what Tyron Smith said, too. He was like, this is a huge opportunity for Colombo to get this thing moving in the right direction. And, who knows what it could mean for him in the future. So,
and hopefully it does work out, because then you got a real problem there, because who do you point fingers to? The players now, right?
Yeah.
I would assume.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't work out with him, if they don't get
Right. If you don't see any type of improvement there,
I think though you would. That's more so the case with like the Amari Cooper trade, because it's like this guy is considered a really great wide receiver, and if it doesn't work out, then what's the issue? But if it doesn't work out offensive line, they're like, okay, we need to get a veteran coach. Maybe just not this coach.
Because then again, you've seen those guys have success.
Yeah.
In the past.
I mean, you have to look at the players too, though. I mean, if it doesn't get any better, it makes you wonder. I mean, it makes you wonder about your tackles for sure. Maybe not to the point that it's like this insane need, but this team hasn't been worried about offensive tackle in a long time. So we'll see.
Well, now I didn't want to bring this up because I think it's stupid, but then someone told me to about Jason Garrett and the World Series.
Why?
Well, I mean,
why?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that he got to talk about it for the first time. He got asked a lot of questions about it, and
then again, he got asked about that.
Yeah,
something that happened.
He said, I mean,
a week ago now.
I think I timed him. Like his answer was like 3 minutes long, just talking about that's what you do on the bye week. Like you take time away, you try to recharge, get away from the game, relax a little bit, refocus yourself. And then he had this whole spiel about like beach guys should go to the beach and mountain guys should go to the mountains. I was like, oh damn, okay. Well,
you're saying baseball guys.
You're a baseball guy, I guess. Sure, go to the game.
Don't say that.
What?
I'm just saying, don't say that. Then that sounds like baseball guys should go to the baseball game.
I mean, maybe.
Baseball fans, I guess. That's fine.
He
basically do what you want, what you enjoy doing in your off time.
And I agree with that 1,000%. And if anyone stayed and worked the whole time during their off time and their weekends and all that, if they do that, then they should be able to say, no, that's not how you do it. But if they take time off and not do things that are, for your job, it doesn't matter where he sits, really. I mean, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters at all. I don't think there's a perception issue at all from that. I mean, the perception issue is way before that.
Oh, well.
And I mean, he no commented on the Jimmy Johnson stuff. He's like, I respect Coach Johnson a lot. That's pretty much all he said. So
that's fine.
I would.
I think people just like making issues out of something really dumb and simple. It's like you try to turn something into a bigger issue than it should be.
That's what I said Monday. That's part of the deal. Like you can roll your eyes at it all you want, but like fans spend a ton of money to go to these games and they pour their heart and soul into this team. They, it affects their mood for weeks on end. They care a lot. They freaking listen to 25 hours of podcasts that we put out. So if they're frustrated because they think the coach is bad and he doesn't look like he's focusing enough, like that, they're well within their right to do that. That doesn't mean I agree with them, but Jason Garrett's being paid $5 million a year to be the coach of the Cowboys, and that goes along with it.
What?
Yeah. I kind of had a slight change of opinion in the last 30 seconds, but because so many times when we talk about fans' perspective, I really try to flip it and be a fan. And I haven't really been a fan of the Cowboys in like 20 years, so it's harder to do that. But we're all a fan of other things. You're a fan of LSU, of course.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Arkansas and other teams or whatever. And you try to like, okay, what if I was a fan, what would I like? And I've had a similar conversation about this, I guess, in the last few weeks. And I think Dave was actually with me when that happened, when I kind of questioned a coaching move.
That's a good point.
From my team. And what decision that coach made. I don't need to get into it all because I don't know all the details. But as a fan, you're frustrated of him as a coach, and then you start finding other things of why you're upset about. So I get it, actually. Yeah. I didn't really get it 2 minutes ago, but I get it a little bit more now of why they would do that. But it doesn't stem from anything other than they just wish you had a different coach, and you find little things.
Absolutely. I mean, but that's part of your right as a fan.
Yeah.
Like you don't really have a say in what's going on. So if you want to dog cuss the coach for being in a World Series game, go right ahead. Again, I don't think you're right for doing it, but whatever.
Right.
And Jason Garrett is well within his right to not give a damn what anybody thinks as long as his boss is okay with it.
Because if Sean McVay is sitting courtside at
Everybody would think it was incredible.
at a
They'd be
Mavericks game or something like that.
Look at our swaggy coach hanging out with LeBron. He's the best.
Yeah.
It's all about whether or not you're doing the job.
That's right.
It's about whether you're winning.
Well, while this discussion was happening, the Cowboys did make a transaction recently, and
Pronounce this one. I don't even know.
they signed cornerback Tristan DeCoud.
I'm like, what's weird about that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm from South Louisiana. That's why. Tristan DeCoud.
DeCoud.
The second D is
Wait.
silent.
Oui.
I could have asked you this question like in the last 3 hours, but I didn't. So you're going to LSU, Alabama on Saturday night.
I will be there.
I hope you're feeling good on Sunday morning for various reasons.
We'll see. I'm not super optimistic, but
I mean, two of the best football games in the world are happening in the state of Louisiana this week.
You could
Any
say-
chance that you're going to go to that game?
I don't have time. The
Saints and Rams.
Saints and Rams is, I think my flight back here is at like 4, and I think that game kicks off at 3:30. Plus, I'm bankrupting myself to go to this LSU game. So, priorities.
Maybe you get a 2-for-1.
It's about as big of a weekend in Louisiana sports history as there's been in a long time. That's for sure.
You had a good tweet the other day about that game, about that Rams Saints game.
I mean, the latest thing since Clark Griswold's house, for sure. Anyway, so Tristan DeCoud, he's a day 3.
You're an expert at that.
What?
Derailing conversations.
Sometimes just gotta drive it over onto the rumble strips. It's fine. He's a day 3 draft pick. I think he went to Oregon State. He was with the Texans. Cowboys picked him up at the start of the season. He's been hanging out on the practice squad. CJ Goodwin.
Yep.
He broke his arm in the last game, so he's your last cornerback on the depth chart.
Now, they could have brought Donovan Alumba up.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of surprised by, he hasn't got a look yet. Tyree Robinson's another guy they could have brought up because this guy's going to play a lot of special teams. Robinson was on the team for 2 weeks and didn't play in either of the games. Active and didn't play. It's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that just no.
If you're on the 46 and you don't get in the game,
and you're not a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think you could do something. These guys, Kayvon Frazier's giving up touchdowns on defense. He's kind of tired. You would think, maybe we could put Robinson in on this punt team. Nope, not putting him in.
Punt
Team.
sounded like punk.
It wasn't.
I'm not one to speak when it comes to pronunciation, but
It's okay.
the club also designated wide receiver Noah Brown returned to
how did we not
practice.
lead with this?
You guys,
I'm so high. Noah Brown is coming back.
he is coming back.
Explain the fascination with Noah Brown.
I mean, at this point,
If he just had like really short hair,
it's not. He had short hair when he got
I
drafted.
don't know.
Here.
I mean, what is it? Is it because he looks like a tight end?
At this point, it's
Because he's cool.
At this point, it's 50%.
Because
shtick.
what you've seen from him on the field, and
One
you
key-
want to see more. Yes. Okay,
What
don't
have we
even
seen?
start.
I
Don't
just
even
wanna-
pull out
pull up some
stats.
stats.
No,
What
don't
have we
even.
seen?
How can you say don't even pull out stats when you just said it's what he's doing on the field? He's barely played. I'm the idiot for being excited. Not
but there was
Nick.
That's what
something
I'm
at
saying,
training
though.
camp
No,
or
no,
something
no.
You liked.
I'm saying for me, for example, when I got to see him on the field, the very few times that we did, 4 times,
4 catches. is
4
what I got.
catches that it, I still saw little sparks of him that made me want to see more. That's what I'm getting at.
He has been an intriguing player from the time he got drafted. He left Ohio State. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it was not a wide receiver friendly scheme. I think he was frustrated. He goes in the draft. He falls because he doesn't have the resume. Basically, he has got that Des Bryant type build. He's 6'2", probably 218 or 220. He can jump. He can run. I mean, he's not like a burner, but he's got moves. And you saw it in the preseason. You didn't see a ton of it in the regular season, but all that goes to he's a good blocker. He can do a lot of things the Cowboys want their wide receivers to do in the run game. And I think he's unique in that he's got a different build from every other receiver out there. He's capable of boxing defenders out. I know the back shoulder ball it's probably not Dak Prescott's best throw, but he still he's a better guy to do that type of stuff with than a lot of these other guys. Like I said, he can box DBs out on slants and comebacks and things like that. I just think he's got a lot of potential, and 50% of it is shtick / hype because we haven't seen him in so long. I mean, he didn't practice once at training camp. He was on his hammy flared up like the first afternoon we were there. So I like his story. I like his skill set. I'm excited to see him get a chance.
The one thing that everyone loved about Dez is just the type of player he was with that build, and every time he was out there, it did look like, from our view, it looked like it was Dez.
I got confused every single time.
Another time in the off season, we were sitting there eating, and I don't remember exactly who it was, but it was like, why is Jalen Smith running routes from Dak? He looks pretty good.
Yeah,
he's back, because this guy's running routes. No, that's Noah Brown. So that just goes to show how big Noah Brown is.
I've forgotten that because he hasn't been a part of the conversation in so long. But we gave Lance Lenore so much credit for how much time he spent there in the offseason. Noah Brown was right there with him. Noah Brown was here on Valentine's Day and every day after that working. So yeah, I root for the guy. It is worth pointing out a couple things. They opened his practice window, so that doesn't mean he'll be on the roster for the Titans game. They have 3 weeks to evaluate him before they have to move him to the active roster. So if he comes back, he doesn't have to be for 3 more games, I believe, or maybe 2 more games.
The clock there.
And that also,
you got to start somewhere.
That also means that they've used one of their IR to return slots. So one of the 2 of Travis Frederick or Terrence Williams is definitely done for the year. Like, they can only bring 1 more guy back. So,
and Dayton Jones.
Or Dayton Jones is another one.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot about
him. I keep forgetting about
that.
him.
Actually, that may actually be something that they consider.
Something to watch. Yeah.
Sure. Tell you why in a couple minutes.
All right, well, let's take our first break, and when we come back, we'll get into who practiced, who did it, and then the Tennessee defense.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for a little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Back to the break.
We are back on the second segment of the break. Now, still questions about Jeff Swain, Randy Gregory, Zach Martin. Also, I've seen people asking about Cheeto Awuzie. So I wanted to check out what you guys were able to see in today's practice.
Not a lot, because it's just, it's 15 minutes where they
Right.
run pat and go. But Jeff Swain was not there. Randy Gregory was not there. Zach Martin was not there. Cheeto's there. It's always something to watch for sure. But Cheeto, he made it through the last game, and he had a week off, so I'm not super worried about him. But Swain, I'm not really worried about Zach Martin either. Like, I'll believe he's not going to play when he doesn't play. So Swain and Gregory are really 2 guys that I'm watching as the week goes along, which
just remember, and we talk about this a lot, but to the people that are listening, the weekend's almost here for them because it is Thursday.
Right.
This is still Wednesday practice for the Cowboys, and it's very normal for guys not to do anything on Wednesday, but then ease into practice Thursday and Friday.
As far as the Cowboys are concerned, just set your week back a day.
Pretty much.
I mean, I tweeted that out of Garrett's press conference that Swain wasn't going to practice, and
so we're doing a show Saturday.
No, we're not doing a tailgate Saturday. People were they're like, "Come on, Garrett, it's Thursday already. Like, if you got to get somebody else right." Like, no, calm down. There's 3 more practices to go.
Argue with someone, really fight with someone, back in the coaching office. No. It is Wednesday.
Who was it yesterday that we walked by and was like, "Oh, you should have saved that outfit for Wednesday"? I'm like, "It is Wednesday," but talking about a Wednesday football schedule.
Oh yeah, he was already. Yeah, that's right. He was already thinking this is not Wednesday. This is or Tuesday. It's okay.
Have a great Wednesday.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you, Jason.
So out of these two,
which is what he's saying today.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, which out of these two, obviously Swain would be the biggest question. But as far as Randy Gregory, and I know it's still early in the week, but based on the procedure he had and all that, is it possible or likable for him to actually do something this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's possible. Again, it's for the 5th time. It's Wednesday in their world, so it's very normal for a veteran player to miss a Wednesday practice. It's, the Thursday, Friday practice is going to be the telling one. And then obviously over the weekend. It seems crazy to me that you can have a knee scope. I don't care. Derek tried to argue with me that it's that's not surgery. If somebody's inserting metal objects into your body, it's surgery. So it's something to watch. I'll be kind of impressed if he can go, but
just think about all injuries that you have, whether it be small, sprain or cut or whatever, 27 to 30 hours later. And most games are played at noon or 3 o'clock on Sunday, But when you're playing at 7 o'clock Monday night, that's 27 or 30 hours more, later on. A lot of things can change in that time. Now I understand that, surgery for Gregory, I would not expect Gregory to play in this game. But somebody like Swain, a Monday night game is obviously different than Sunday. And it really, in our mind, it's it's almost the end of the week. But he's still got a lot of time. I wouldn't be surprised if
that's a whole extra day you get to get right.
Yeah. All right, now let's move on to the Tennessee defense.
Okay.
Hopefully this is bad. I'm saying they, not
Hainsworth.
Dave's report, but.
Well,
honestly, when I think of the Titans defense, I just think of Javon Curse or Hainsworth.
Nick is the king of being is it still the same thing from 8 years ago? Is that you still got Javon Curse was a hell of a player though.
Yeah,
he was a beast.
He was a freak. But they don't have a lot of star players on defense.
They don't.
Too impressive.
They don't.
Who's their best player?
Their best player. They don't have a lot of stars. They do have one of the most underrated players in the entire NFL, in my opinion. A guy by the name of Jor-El Casey.
Defensive tackle.
He's their 3 technique. Well, they play 3-4, but he's their penetrating.
I broke a play
all around
from him yesterday. Illustrated, and he is a badass.
He's a Bamf, is what we call him.
He can get in there.
He's one of just
Bamf.
He's a Bamf. He's one of just a handful of guys that's left over from this from the last time the Cowboys played the Titans, which 2014. He had 2 sacks in that game. Sacked Tony Romo twice. So he's a guy you got to account for. He's absolutely massive. He's a 2nd-team All-Pro and a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's the guy to know because honestly, the rest of this doesn't do a lot for me. So I'm conflicted about this. The Titans are 11th in total defense, 340 yards a game. They have a top 10 passing defense and a middle of the pack rushing defense. They're 3rd in scoring defense behind the Cowboys. So you look at that and you're like, oh, these guys are not messing around. These guys are great. But I don't know, man. I didn't see it. And that sounds mean because, watch, they'll kick the Cowboys' ass on Monday night now that I've said that. But the main thing for me is this is an old defense. I did the math on it. There are 4 guys on this defense that are 30 or older, and the average age of this defense is 27. And so when I watched them, I just didn't see, like, for example, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They just fly around all over the place. They got these young draft pick badass players everywhere, and they just look super athletic. I don't necessarily see that here. This is a big defense. So you got Jor-El Casey, Daquan Jones, Austin Johnson are your main front. Benny Logan's in there too, but he's really more of a depth guy. He kind of fell off pretty quickly, which is surprising. Your rush guys are Derek Morgan, who's a longtime Titan. He was on the 14 team. He's 30 years old. And Brian Arakpo, he came over from the Redskins a few years ago. He's 32. Will Compton's 30. He's inside linebacker. Wesley Woodyard, former Kentucky guy, he's 32. Like, these guys are getting up there. And they're still NFL players, but they didn't jump off the screen at me as like just these super duper athletic guys. The money of this defense is in the secondary. They have Logan Ryan. They brought in Malcolm Butler from New England, the Super Bowl hero. I know, like, they're top 10, but there's plays to be made against these guys. Malcolm Butler, I know, Pro Football Focus isn't everything, but he's ranked 79th in the league among cornerbacks right now. Like, he's having a bad year. He's given up 5 passing touchdowns.
There's Cheeto on that list.
I don't know, but Byron Jones is one.
He's the number 1
He
corner.
is number 1 rated corner by them. I know that, that's not scientific, but that's what they say. They've given up chunk plays in damn near every game they've played. I looked this up. They gave up touchdowns of 75 and 55 to the Chargers through the air. They gave up a 28-yarder and a 39-yarder to Houston. They gave up a 56-yarder to Philly. Most of these coming on Malcolm Butler, by the way, who's their big money guy who was supposed to be their shutdown. So I have reason to think that there are plays to be made against these guys, and obviously easier said than done with the way the Cowboys' passing offense has been, but Amari Cooper's there now. And, I always argue with Nick, like, I don't care that much about bombing away, but maybe you should. Maybe you should in this game because they've shown a tendency to give those plays up. They have Adoree Jackson as well, first-round pick. Everybody, they stole him from the Cowboys a couple years ago in the draft, but he's their 3rd corner, which if your 2nd year, first-round pick, like, that's disappointing in my opinion. Yeah. And their rushing offense, this is the rushing totals they've allowed. 120, 147. They gave up 87 to Jacksonville, but Jacksonville didn't run that much. They averaged 4.6 yards per carry. 117 to Philly. 144 to Buffalo, although the Bills only averaged 3.5 yards per carry in that game, but they still got to 150 rushing yards. 123 from Baltimore. They completely shut down the Chargers the other day in London, 47 in that game, but Phillip Rivers was doing whatever he wanted to through the air. So there's plays to be made against these guys, I think. Like, they're stout statistically, but I think this plays well to the Cowboys' strengths because...
Well, you mentioned Casey.
Yes, yeah.
Now, how much of a problem is this going to be when going up against Connor Williams?
If there's... The one thing that gives me pause is I think their front is big and powerful. I mean, Jor-El Casey most of all, and yeah, he's probably gonna disrupt some stuff. I mean, you remember Connor Williams playing against Kawan Short. They have the potential to do that, and I think that could be a problem for Connor. I think it could be a problem for all of them, to be honest with you. And that's the one thing that kind of gives me pause about this. But I think there's plays there in the passing game, like I said. I mean, they're ranked 9th, and I was expecting to see just this, lockdown coverage on tape, and I didn't. Like, teams are beating them with some regularity. All of their corners. Adoree Jackson gave up one of the long ones to the Chargers the other day. So I'm encouraged. I do think, they're going to have their work cut out for them blocking Casey and Johnson. And one more. Two names, me being the draft nerd that I am, like, I keep my eye on them because Harold Landry and Rashaan Evans. Rashaan Evans is the Bama linebacker that the Cowboys liked. He wound up here. They move him in a lot. And then Harold Landry is the Boston College pass rusher that they got in the 2nd round. And they're trying to get him involved. And I think it's because they obviously see the end of the road for these guys like Morgan and Arakpo. I wonder how involved he's going to get in this game because he's kind of been a bit player to this point. But those guys, super talented and definitely worth watching if they get on the field.
Okay. Well, I'm liking this. I'm liking this report.
I feel like a homer when I say this because, like, usually, people give me crap all the time. They're like, oh, to hear it from Dave, we're playing the 85 Bears. Like, I try to pay respect to the opposition, but, like, I watched them play, and I don't know. I wasn't impressed.
Clearly, you would say the Cowboys defense is a lot better.
It's definitely better, in my opinion, yeah. And
well, there you go. The Cowboys got that working for them this weekend and playing at home.
I think the Cowboys have the favorable matchup
Yes.
on both sides of the ball, on top of the fact that they're playing at home.
Nice.
All right, let's take our final break, and when we come back, we'll take some questions. So hit us on Twitter at Cowboys Break.
While a player could look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
It's time for Tailgate with the OtterBox boys.
OtterBox, the makers of those crazy protective phone cases?
The one and only. They're also wild about protecting parking lot parties from sad drinks. It's why they made elevation tumblers.
Rumor around the crockpot is they're made from stainless steel with a copper lining to keep temps hot or cold.
True, they even come in 7 different sizes, up to 64 ounce, the growler.
I like how OtterBox drinks. Thinks.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Back to the break.
Let's talk about Tommy John real quick. I think that Jason Garrett has a T-shirt or a sign somewhere over there that says "Protect the ball." That's what you're trying to do in football. It's really what you're trying to do in life, and that's what Tommy John does.
But in this case, you're protecting him too.
It's true.
You are, for the most part. You are protecting too.
So strong at the balls.
Wow. So
good drop, Kent.
That's very good. So Tommy John does that as well as anybody. You want to make sure that everything is protected, and Tommy John can do it better than anybody. So TommyJohn.com/Cowboys, the official ball carrier of the Dallas Cowboys.
Nice.
Okay.
Thank you, Nick.
That was good. That was a good one.
Thank you.
That's a first.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. No, it was good.
Just wait.
It was good.
I got
Okay.
something planned for you.
So at this time,
We got a game or
when you have a season going the way it's going for the Cowboys, it gets to a point where you start pointing fingers. And this is something we've talked about in the past, but I've seen several people ask about this. Kellen Moore. How much blame falls on Kellen Moore when it comes to Dak's performance on the field?
You know what? I mean, that's the first time that I've actually heard that, like this week after after Alexander got fired. But I mean, have you heard it a lot? Seen it?
I mean, there's people on Twitter that hate on Kellen Moore all the time, but like I haven't heard it any more than I'm
The thing
used to.
is that Dak kind of regressed last year a little bit. from his rookie year. And that was, with Wade Wilson as the coach. The offensive line has been really good, and I mean elite. And all of a sudden, it's not anymore. And what's the difference? New coach, so let's change that. So I don't know if you can say oh my God, what's going on with Dak? We started to see this last year. Now he hasn't helped to the point where he's a lot better that we see. I'm sure that the coaches will tell you, he sees things, but I think it's fair. I mean, that's fair criticism, and it's something that's where you're on watch. But again, Dak was sort of struggling some last year, and we saw that this isn't his rookie season anymore. It's more of a challenge, and he was brought in. Kellen Moore was brought in to help with that. So far, we haven't seen big changes there, but they're gonna give him.
I agree.
They're gonna give him a new wide receiver. They're gonna give him the old offensive line scheme and back, and we'll see what happens.
Now, with no first round pick next year, what's the Cowboys' number one need in the second round?
Ooh, draft show
real
talk.
Quick, before you get to that,
yeah, what's up?
Can you address that Kellen Moore thing? You were about to say something real quick.
No, I mean, quarterback is so weird. It's different for me. We say that all the time. Quarterback's different, and I don't know. Unless Dak Prescott was like, you got to get this guy out of here. He's killing me. You're not going to do something that's going to upset your quarterback. And I think Dak likes Kellen Moore. I mean, if this doesn't work out at the end of the season, obviously, I mean, Kellen Moore, this is his first year coaching anything, but he's smart enough to know that's how coaching works. If this season goes south, everybody should be on notice. Nobody over there is going to feel comfortable about their job status if the Cowboys don't find a way to win games. But you don't do things to upset your quarterback halfway through the season. You want him to be comfortable and happy in the environment that he's working in. And so yanking the coach out of there and putting somebody new in is probably not going to make your quarterback happy. So I can't think of many examples of a quarterback coach getting yanked halfway through a season. It just doesn't seem like it's something that happens.
What I have never really liked about this hire is that it's one thing that's fine that he didn't really play a lot of games. He played a few games in the league. There's a lot of coaches over there that probably never played any in the NFL. What they played was high school and college, but why they're NFL coaches is because they've been around the NFL for a long time. And I just don't think he's got a lot of experience. He didn't have a ton of experience as a player. He certainly has no experience as a coach. So he's still a young guy in life. I mean, not just as a coach, but he's still a young guy. And he hasn't really seen much more than Dak. So I just always questioned how much he could really help with his experience. He's obviously got a good mind for the position in the game, or he wouldn't have won so many games in college and been around and all that. And he got a good grasp of what Linehan's trying to do.
I will say this, though, is I think most of the moves that the Cowboys made were in the interest of harmony. It's we kind of got our backs to the wall, let's just bring in guys who get us, who get what we want to do, who we're not going to be butting heads with. I mean, Kellen Moore comes to mind. He's Scott Linehan's protege. Ben Bloom is a guy who's been here forever. They elevated him. They bring Mark Colombo on. The two that stand out in that regard are, for me, Chris Richard and Paul Alexander. And, Paul Alexander.
Sanjay Law, maybe you could throw in there, too.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a lot of ties here.
Yeah, I guess that is true. That's fair. But I would say the difference is Chris Richard's unit is performing really well. Paul Alexander's didn't. So they're like, oh, that didn't work. Let's raise up another familiar guy, and we can kind of get that sense of harmony back. Although, I mean, the receivers aren't playing great either.
Yeah,
so
but they went and
went
and tried to help him.
You're right. They did. Well, they're probably like, what else do you want us to do to help the offensive line?
I mean, what else? I mean, all first rounders.
Not a lot you can do to improve the talent level, short of getting Travis Frederick back.
I mean, obviously with Frederick and Looney, but when they started training camp with Frederick, I mean, I'm sure Max. Or not Matt. What am I thinking of? The draft, Todd McShay and Mel Kiper.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee you they had first round grades on every single guy that was drafted. Maybe not Frederick. Frederick may not have had first round grade.
He didn't because they killed him for it.
Either drafted in the first round or a first round grade.
Yeah, pretty close.
So,
I always thought the Cowboys made most of their offseason moves in the name of harmony and you know what? if our backs are to the wall and we might get fired, we're going to do it our way with guys that we like and trust instead of like bringing in all these new faces.
Sorry, what was that?
Well, they usually don't like doing that. They like sticking to their own thing and
and it's
believing that it's gonna work out.
It's the classic case. I mean, if it works out for them, that'll be good for them, and if it doesn't, it'll probably change.
Tax it. But yeah, so who would you pick, or who do you think? What position do you think is the biggest necessity going into the draft for the second round?
People are going to say tight end, but I'm starting a movement, and I'm doing it right now before the offseason even gets here because, we talk about how steep the learning curve is for wide receiver. How about tight end? Like how many short of other than Rob Gronkowski, who is in the Hall of Fame right now if he never plays another snap, how many tight ends like make an early difference? Like really just come on strong and are great right out the bat. So
but how many 7th round tight ends and undrafted guys? I mean, that's what they're. I mean, at least the starting point. Now you can't say that they have not hit on 2nd round tight ends in the last 10 years.
I'm not even looking at I'm in the NFL. How many people hit on tight ends? I mean, OJ Howard, like he's okay, I guess. For all the talk about Dallas Goedert, and I know they have Zach Ertz, but Zach Ertz.
So
is
what
a good
you're
one.
saying is,
well, hold on, let me argue with you there because I'm not trying to get a guy in Canton. I want a guy to be better than Jeff Swain.
Absolutely. The point I'm trying to make is I want to spend on tight end in free agency. Let me get a veteran tight end in here. It doesn't have to even be.
I got your position.
It doesn't have to be this huge contract, but case in point, the Bears went out and signed Trey Burton. He was like the 3rd tight end for the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl. He's not a crazy good player, but an upgrade over what they had, and they didn't break the bank for him. I'd rather just give me a middle-priced vet who can do the job rather than hope for a rookie.
I thought the way you were headed was going to be like, I think by a second year, these tight ends will develop into something else.
I don't have time to wait for people to develop.
And I was about to slap you, but no.
My position is defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle.
Yeah, I like that answer.
I don't know what's going on with David Irving. I don't expect David Irving to be back. Tyrone Crawford, he's been really good as far as locker room guy. He's gonna make a few dollars this next year, and with his getting up there in age a little bit. I don't think they'll make a move, but I think it's time to start looking at some other defensive tackles there. Malik keeps getting hurt a lot. I could see a position in the 2nd round.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But you didn't actually say yours.
Defensive tackle, safety, and I don't even like saying this, but I got to figure out what Travis Frederick's future is. And if the answer is not good, that's something that you should consider too.
Let's not rule out wide receiver either. I understand you already got your 1st round pick, but
so we got 4 positions.
Well,
so far on the list.
That's what they'll do.
Investigate and educate, dude. You can't just lock onto one position.
Cole Beasley's could be a free agent at the end of the year.
True.
You got Gallup. I don't think Hearns is long for this.
You absolutely could look at receiver. So. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for listening and tuning 25. In. For Nick Kidman, David Hellman, Amber Garcia, this has been The Break on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.